Hey guys, it's Tara and welcome back to Reviewniforms. Yay! The channel where I react, rant, rate, and review uniforms from all over the world, from all walks of life. So if you want to hear what I think of some cool uniforms or some not so cool uniforms, then keep on watching. All right, guys, I'm excited. I'm ready for this week's uniform, so let's see the first one.
Okay, everybody, I just want to give you a wee bit of an insight now.
You guys, these are bagpipers. I can tell right away. Well, I think it's bagpipers. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have the bagpipe, but he's got the outfit on. And I can tell you, I'm already excited and hyped because who doesn't love, well, y'all know that I love a uniform with a lot of pomp and circumstance and extraness, and this uniform has all of those elements. Head to toe, it is just extra, extra, extra. So let's hear what he has to say. I'm excited.
The meaning of the uniform that bagpipers and drummers wear.
Yep, I was right. This is the bagpipers, just like he said. Bagpipers and drummers wear this. So I have a feeling we're about to get an old school breakdown from this dude. So I am ready. Let's go.
And if we start at the feet, you'll see the giddy brogues, the shoes.
These shoes remind me of like the little Irish dancers. Do y'all know what I'm talking about? They have the big curls that bounce up and down, and they just like hold their hands to the side. They like kick their legs up in the air. I swear these are the same shoes they wear.
And you find that the laces were always laced up the legs slightly to give it more of a secure holding of the shoe, because if you got bogged down into a piece of dirt or whatever, your shoe would stay on the foot and not come off. Then you have the socks. Of course, they were all the way up to just under the knee, and they protected the bottom part of your leg from brandles and all sorts of stuff when you're walking through the...
It protects your legs from brandles. I'm assuming that those are leaves and bushes and things when they're marching. I don't know, but I do know that my very first boyfriend's name was Brandle. There's a fun fact for you.
And then you have here the flashes at the side. They were sort of like garters that held the socks up and that they didn't fall down.
See, this is what I'm talking about. The little garters that hold up the socks. That could just be a little garter that you don't see underneath the, the folded over part of the sock. There's no reason at all that that needs to have a little tassel or a little flag coming out of it, which is what those are. Those are called flashes. They found another place to do some decoration and some adornment to the uniform, so why not? And for me, that extraness is appreciated. I love it. Let's keep going.
Then moving on up, then you've got the kilt. This kilt is the Johnston tartan, which is my family tartan.
Okay, so let's check out his family tartan. It is a green and black and yellow, very simple tartan, and tartan is just another word for a kind of plaid. And although plaid is, I think, symmetrical, and then tartans can be just a repeat pattern. That is much too intricate information than you want to know. But this is a uniform channel, so sorry, not sorry. So he's wearing his family tartan, and over in the UK, especially in Scotland, lots of families have a special plaid or a special tartan that is an exact repeat pattern that they use for their family or their clan. It's kind of a marker or kind of like a family crest. I love the fact that he's wearing his family tartan. That's very cool. I wish we had something like that in the US.
And you'll see that the kilt has lots of pleats at the back. And the reason for that was when you were on the road or walking long distances and you had to rest and sleep at night, what you did, you took the kilt off and you took it apart and you used it as a blanket.
Who knew? I didn't know. Did you know? So the reason the kilt has the pleats in the back is because it used to be able to come apart and be used as a blanket. I thought it was just cute and it was for fashion, but no, it had a purpose, and it makes sense because the authentic kilts are made out of this very heavy wool that would be a perfect blanket for you. Genius, genius.
Then you've got here the spurren. Now the spurren was just basically pockets where you can keep everything, money or whatever you have nowadays, usually mobile phones and keys and stuff, but it was just basically a pocket because you didn't have any pockets in your kilt in days gone by.
No pockets in the kilt, so they have the sporran, that little pouch they wear in the center. This one is a pretty modest sporran. I mean, the sporrans I've seen usually have like this long horsehair hanging and tassels and lots of metalwork and fringe or I don't know what, but they are a lot more elaborate than the one he's wearing here. Hopefully we can find some pictures, but I've definitely seen some sporrans that overtake the kilt and they're super extra, so of course I love them, of course.
Then moving up, I mean, the jacket and everything, that came then later. But way back in the olden days, you had the belts, you know, to hold your sword in, and then you had a plaid, which went over your whole body. And then, of course, the headdress was basically came from protecting your head from the sunshine, really, more than anything else. And then the clan badge, which would be the whatever clan you belong to.
So let's see, let's break this down. He talked about the jacket first. So the jacket and the vest, if you divide this uniform in half, it does look a little weird because the bottom looks traditional and the top looks modern. But it looks like the Bagpipers uniform and has evolved into something that fits more into the military, fits more into marching bands because the bagpipers are in conjunction with the drummers. And so this is a modern, obviously a modernized take on the Bagpipers uniform. But yeah, when I think about bagpipers, I think of the guys with the big plaid going across their shoulders, looking like Jon Snow with just like a fur here and a big old thing here. So I really do, I wish that he had more of an authentic bagpipers uniform on. This is definitely a valid modern uniform. I can see how wearing the big traditional pelts and the plaid may not make as much sense as it did back in the day. So I will allow it. Oh, and he talked about the hat. Now we know, if we are good Reviewniforms watchers every week, that we have learned from our favorite guy over at the Hat Historian that this type of hat is called a capini. I like the way it sounds because it sounds like a little hat, which it is. It's a small hat really to just barely protect the head, not for any shade or any kind of extra adornment. But I do love that they've got the big crest insignia of his family or his clan or his group on the capini. I think that looks really sharp and ties in with the rest of the uniform very well. Oh, you know what? Something I noticed really quick here on the kilt. Usually a kilt will have a big metal pin in it on one side where the kilt usually has an opening. And it serves two purposes. One is to keep the kilt closed, and the other one is to put a little bit of weight on it so that the kilt stays down in the front.
The red sash is basically for a pipe major, and that was the pipe major stripes. This badge here is the pipe major, Army pipe major certificate badge, and only people that have the Army pipe major certificate is allowed to wear that badge. All
right, so there's room for flexing on this uniform, which I love. So it looks like he's got his stripes, and he's got 4 stripes. So this guy, he's big time. He's got his stripes, 4 stripes, mind you, and he's also got his medal, and then, like he said, the bagpiper patch that says that you're involved with the military. Before, I did notice that he had some medals on his jacket lapel. So there's definitely room for adornment on this uniform, and I can tell why they moved into more of a military style look for especially the waist up of this uniform, because they do march with the military and police, and it just makes sense.
And that's the bagpipe with the wreath around it. Yeah, so that's basically the uniform. Thank you.
This is like my dream come true, to be just standing on the street and see all these uniforms go by. We can see that this is some type of parade of traditional bagpiper uniforms. And this is what I'm talking about. A lot of them have the big plaid around the shoulders that matches their kilt, and they're wearing more adorned hats. They've got the actual bagpipes. One guy has got his in the blue here over in the corner. In fact, that's a woman, a lady bagpiper. Hello, give it up. Let's give it up. It looks like she might have her actual bag covered in the tartan too. See girl, I feel you. Like, that's what I'm talking about. This is how you do it. If you've got a uniform that allows you to be as extra as possible, let's take advantage. I agree. So yeah, let's finish watching these bagpipers. I love it. Okay, I keep stopping. Y'all see the big sporrans? I mean, these sporrans here have got like all the horsehair on them and tassels and everything. I absolutely love this. This is pomp and circumstance like only the UK or the Scottish could do it. I love it. Yay, bagpipers! Okay guys, how many Reviewnicorns do I give the bagpiper uniform? I am gonna give it 4 Reviewnicorns, because the one we saw today was more of a modern bagpiper. It wasn't the traditional uniform. If he was going over a traditional uniform, that would have been easy 5 Reviewnicorns, because that entire look is so recognizable and so iconic. But I'm gonna give it 4 because I really love all the traditional elements that are added to the uniform, and then the parts that are modernized just simply make sense. So yes, 4 Reviewnicorns for the bagpipers. Yay! Okay guys, that was fun. Let's see the next one.
Most of us are familiar with the infamous Redcoats of the British Army.
Yes, we are familiar. We are very familiar for 2 big reasons I can think of right now. Number 1, because this uniform is iconic. We'll get into it, but this uniform is everything. And the second reason it's very familiar is because America whooped that ass in a war, and how could we forget?
But there was more to the uniform than that. When they arrived in Boston in 1775, the 4th's uniform was close to the royal warrant for light infantry. Like all British soldiers, they wore a white linen shirt and white wool breeches with a straight-waisted red wool waistcoat.
Let's get into the coat. This jacket, this coat is everything. The way this is designed, I mean, just the bright color. Can we talk about the buttons? Just the buttons alone. It's like they came to the designer of the uniform and said, all right, mate, we've got about 8 million extra buttons. Design the uniform around this. Go ahead. Don't y'all love my little accents? Don't unsubscribe. Back to this red waistcoat. And I'm sorry that this is like making me stumble over my words, but I love this uniform. I can't think of any other uniform that has a jacket that the front is shaped like this, where it's closed and close up at the top, and then the fabric graduates to the back. It's so cool, and it exposed the vest underneath, so even more red and even more buttons that gave it even more presence. And if you think about it, it is so much easier to move in this kind of jacket. So there's a lot of function and fashion in this jacket. Sorry, it's a coat. Coat, jacket, same thing. So it looks very heavy, to be honest, and I'm sure it was being made out of wool. Thank God they have the linen pants to cool off a little bit. But yes, the Redcoats is just a uniform that absolutely has stood the test of time as a recognizable look. And I think it's because of the cut of the jacket and the adornment. Just the level of buttons is gorgeous and outrageous.
Over this went the regimental coat, cut down slightly in the back to allow easier movement. While every infantry regiment wore a madder red coat, the facings, collar, cuffs, and lapels, were distinct for every regiment.
Okay, we got a close-up of his arm here, and we can see the buttons. This button has got the number 4 on it, so he's obviously from the 4th Regiment or the 4th Crew, and that insignia is put on all of the buttons. What a cool customization they chose to put into the uniforms. And as we look really, really closely here, you can see so much hand stitching. These were meticulously made. Wow, wow, wow. This one's knocking me out.
Blue, like the 4th wears, was reserved for royal regiments. The King's Own got their title in 1715, which enabled them to wear the blue facings. They wore shoulder wings to denote their status as a flank company.
Okay, the shoulder wings. The shoulder wings are just another little piece of the jacket that is put into the arm seam, and it kind of gives an overflow or more of a like shoulder pad look there. And it's just adorned where, yeah, it does kind of look like the sides of something. And in fact, it's on the side of the body. I think he said it was a flank regiment, and flank regiments are the guys that come up the side. And they need to be recognized and have a little bit different uniform because they are specialized usually in something to be in the flank infantry. Wow, let's keep going.
Only light infantry and grenadiers wore the wings on their coats. Light infantry wore leather helmets on their heads, which were less likely to be knocked off by branches and provided some protection from cavalry sabers.
Okay, so this helmet, I don't love it, I don't hate it, but I don't love it. The front swoop is a little weird. It looks like, kind of like a pompadour. I don't know. Okay, there used to be this restaurant back in the 70s. I can't believe I was alive back in the 70s. Can you believe that? No. We don't believe that. But there was a restaurant back in the 70s and 80s called Big Boy. It would be on the side of the road, and he would have his hand extended with a big burger on it, and his hair was this big swoop curl. That's what this is giving me. Tell me if that's what it's giving you too. All right, so back to the details of the hat. Yeah, what I don't love about it is the little swoop on top, but what I do love is this huge, massive lion on the front. I mean, when they said, like, what do you want on the front, they covered the entire portion of it. I mean, this insignia is bigger than I've seen on anything. I mean, it's covering the width of both of his eyes here. I mean, it's that big. And then, of course, as we know, they are very proud of which regiment they're in. So this is the 4th Regiment and a big, huge 4 up there. So I do love the branding, but I am just not feeling the swoop. But the feather, now the feather, that's a different thing, because there's zero reason there needs to be a feather up there, but there is one. See, that makes me happy. Yeah, just adding a little floof, adding a little pizzazz, adding a little razzle dazzle. I like it. All right, so the feather is saving the hat. You are very lucky.
The 4th's helmets are unique with their swept shields and red feathers. Most regiments' light companies wore rounded shields with black feathers. The accoutrements of the light infantry varied slightly from regiment to regiment. There was a cartridge pouch worn by a shoulder strap.
Oh, do y'all see a little heart where the coat is folded back? It's got a little heart there, and all of these guys have a little heart there. So I'm wondering what that means to the 4th Regiment. Very interesting. I do know that I've seen one before that had something that looked like a little bomb on it. Yeah, I wonder what that means. We're gonna have to find out.
Suspended from that strap was a powder horn and shot pouch. On the other side is a bayonet, worn on a strap with a buckle bearing the regimental number. By the warrant, those straps should be black leather, but we know that the King's Own was told off for white straps in an inspection before leaving for Boston.
Wrong! They totally got that one wrong. This would look whack with black straps. The white straps totally match the pants, they totally match the outfit, and they literally make the look. Especially now that I'm seeing this buckle with another insignia on it, another embossed number 4 on there. They're proud of who they are and they want to stick with their regiment, and I love the branding. I really, really do. The king was wrong. Black straps would have been a terrible choice. I'm glad they went with the white.
British soldiers also wore a linen haversack, where they carried their food rations, and a tin flask for water.
For water.
And on the march, they wore a knapsack with all of their worldly possessions. The knapsack was linen, painted on the outside for waterproofing, with 2 large pouches on the inside. In these pouches went an extra shirt and a pair of socks.
Always prepared.
Replacement heels and soles for the shoes, a cap for off-duty wear, black ball for blackening and pipe clay for whitening, along with a brush for maintaining their wool.
So, you guys, let's paint this picture. They're in the middle of a war. Muskets being stuffed, bombs being thrown, and they only have a little bit of space in their backpack for all their worldly possessions. And what do they bring with them? They bring with them white polish and black polish and a brush to make sure that their uniform looks top notch. I mean, you guys, if that's not British, what is? Whether you're getting spanked or you're winning, that you look proper and that your boots are shined and that your whites are nice and white. I kind of love it. I don't kind of love it, I really love it.
Soldiers carried a housewife or sewing kit for repairs.
They carried what's called a housewife for repairs, and it's a sewing kit. I'm about 2 seconds from taking away 1 RevieUnicorn just for that. Men can sew too. Anyone can sew. Why is it called a housewife? Very of the times. I'm gonna let this one pass. I'm gonna let just this time.
Blanket sat in the middle of the knapsack between the pockets. That kit was worn between 1775 and 1776. But in 77, the British Army realized it was inefficient for service in North America and made some changes. Each army had separate modifications, and the King's Own changed theirs to match the army in New York.
Aha! If you guys remember in one of my earliest videos, we did the King's Guard. You know their big fur bearskin hats that they wear? That style was taken from the French after a war with them. So they bit that style and then they lost the war with us, but they kept some of the style. So, you know, I can't blame them. We do have pretty good style here, but let's see how the uniform changed after that.
The older kit was heavy, not well suited to the mid-Atlantic climate. To fit the weather, everything was lightened. The coat and waistcoat were replaced by a wool jacket made from the waistcoat with the regimental sleeves attached. While the wool breeches were replaced with linen trousers, the helmet was replaced with a round felt hat cocked up on the left side. The round hat was lighter, more comfortable, and offered some protection from the sun.
All right, so I do like the changes that they made. They made sense. I mean, that coat, I think once they got over here, they realized that like, whoa, it's a lot warmer, things are different, and they decided that the very ornamental red coat was not quite so efficient. So they moved to something that made a little more sense on the battlefield. So I can definitely respect that, but as far as the look, no. The red coat original look had it going on. And the hat actually is something I'm a little more familiar with seeing more than that little swoop leather hat we saw earlier. And so this one is definitely more familiar. So I like it. I like the hat with the uniform. It works. So how many Reviewnicorns do I give the British Redcoats? I'm giving them 5, you guys. Absolutely 5 Reviewnicorns. I have to give them 5. This uniform is iconic. I mean, it just reminds me of the British Bobby helmet that we talked about a few weeks ago. You can just see a silhouette of that uniform and absolutely know a time and a place and a location. Same with the British Redcoats. This uniform is unique. It's unlike anything we've ever seen, and it is so, so extra. So for that reason, absolutely an easy 5 Reviewnicorns. All right, guys, I'm ready for the next one.
9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, 10 seconds. That went really, really fast. Damn, that's the fastest uniform review I ever saw. Okay, great. 3 Reviewnicorns. Thanks, bye, next. My God, okay, 10 seconds. I have a feeling we're gonna see more. I'd say the things that stood out to me the most are that bright blue. You see a lot of flight attendants in navy, but this is a very bright blue accent color that they've got on the collar. I definitely noticed that scarf because we've got a print, and I always notice when there's a print. But the belt stood out to me a lot. Even though it was only 1 second, I wanna get a better look at what that belt looks like. I definitely saw some blue, it's fitted, it's tiny, and you know, I think a flight attendant uniform always needs a belt. So yeah, let's see some more.
0.
You guys, I forgot to say, I recognize this uniform. This is ANA Airlines. You could see it on our name tag, but yeah, this is ANA Airlines and they operate out of Japan. That's where they're based.
オフモードからオンモードに切り替える。
Okay, you guys, I am looking at this still shot of her looking in the mirror, and I love how she is wearing her scarf. She's got it tied really tightly underneath her collar and with a rosette, which that is not easy to do. And the way she's got it situated so her collar pops out of the top and really stands up, I think that looks absolutely gorgeous. And if I look closely, I can see that there's a print on the shirt as well. So we're doing prints on bright colors. I'm living. Let's see more.
チームでフライトをするので
This is going really fast. You've got to have an eagle eye to catch this uniform. When I see her walking here, I get a glimpse of the cut of this jacket. The jacket, while it is kind of a boring gray, I can see that the back has a nice fit and flare feminine cut, which you know looks great coming and going. And they've got stripes down the back of the sleeves in that same electric bright blue. So like I said, coming and going, this uniform looks great and has branding.
何か一つのことをみんなで成し遂げた時にとてもやりがいを感じます。
Okay, this jacket. I was not feeling the gray, but now that I'm seeing the jacket, look at these shoulders. When you see the three women together here, you can tell her shoulders. They've got a really nice, strong shoulder pad shoulder there, covered buttons on the jacket, and it's got a fit and flare with it. This jacket went from, before I could really see it, it went from gray and boring to gray and nicely fitted, gray and couture.
例えばハネムーンのお客様がいらっしゃった時にサプライズでお祝いをしたり、お誕生日の方であったり。
Alright, so in this shot, I'm seeing something I love. All three women are wearing their scarf in a different way. One's got the rosette on and her collar open. Then we've got our girl who's wearing it very prim and proper with the collar standing up in the rosette. And then the other lady has just got it very cowl neck type, tied to the side. And like most flight attendants, when they are all dressed up, they look more like sisters than they do twins. So I really love the little bits of individuality that they've done with the scarf. Looks great, ladies. So you can see the blue on the seats in the plane is the same bright blue that's on the accents on their uniforms. It's all clicking together now.
私もいつもおもてなしって何だろうと思います。想像をして自分から何かを先にして差し上げられる。
There's those stripes on the back of the sleeves again as she's walking down the aisle. That looks so good and so clean.
気持ちであったり、本当におもてなしとは奥が深くて永遠に答えが出ないのではないかなと思います。
And he's all about me, 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 me. And we don't give a dang, 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 dang about nobody.
Okay, that was cute. All right, so I'm glad they included that little TikTok because I got to see the belt, and the belt looks like it is a black leather belt with a buckle that has the contrast color bright blue stripe on it, and I think it looks really great. So because you've got the mix in the prints and the belt, this uniform looks fantastic without the jacket as well, because I know the flight attendants don't wear the jacket the entire flight. I love this uniform. At first glance, I didn't see anything that excited me, but the more that I got into the details, the more it jumped out as something really unique. So, how many Reviewnicorns do I give the ANA Airways flight attendants? I'm gonna give them 4. 4 Reviewnicorns, yes. I love that bright blue and that they chose to use that. You know, so many airlines have an accent color, but they choose to mix it with navy or black. And I love that they chose that lighter gray because I think it kind of looks like the sky, and with the blue as well, it really matches well and it elevates and lightens the uniform. So I think that they are well put together. Love the mixing of the prints. Everything is tailored and top-notch and easy. 4 Reviewnicorns for ANA Airways flight attendants. So guys, I want to know what you think. Did you love the British Redcoats, or did you think the ANA flight attendants were the best, or do you agree with me and you are just excited about the Bagpipers uniforms? Did you love seeing that traditional parade go down and hearing all that? Oh, that was so fun. Hit subscribe for me, pretty please. I would love for you to join our Reviewniforms family and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any videos from Reviewniforms and Uniform Expert Reacts. And don't forget the most important thing, it's okay to judge uniforms, but not people. Love everyone.